How's it going, guys? My name's Wilson. I made a video 2 months ago on the 10 greatest players in the 2010s decade. If you guys haven't watched it yet, I highly recommend you to check it out. Now on to the 2000s, where there were a lot of low-scoring games, tough grinded defense, led by the 2000s early Laker teams with Kobe and Shaq, and of course, the consistency of the San Antonio Spurs, one of the most underappreciated teams, the Detroit Pistons, and of course, at the latter part of the decade, with the Boston Celtics Big Three. With that said, here are 10 of the best players in the 2000s decade. Starting with number 10, Dwayne Wade, who will be best remembered for his incredible 2006 title run with Miami. In his third season, was already a superstar. Flash averaged 25.2 points, 4.9 rebounds, 6.7 assists, 1.8 steals, a block on over 48% shooting from 04 to 09 in 394 games played. Put up over 16, 4, and 5 as a rookie when he was 21, 22 years old at the time. Went on to average 24 a game each of the next 7 seasons. After falling a game short of the finals in 05, Wade averaged an incredible 34.7 points in the finals against Dallas, dominated down the stretch, came back from a 13-point deficit with 5 minutes to go in Game 3 with Miami's backs against the wall, made all the winning plays, torched Dallas again in Game 5, scoring 43 points, still easily his best playoff series all time, winning finals MVP at age 24, but the 2 seasons after, Wade missed a combined 62 regular season games, was swept in the first round by Chicago in 07, and failed to make the playoffs in 08, with Miami winning only 15 games. That's why I didn't rank him higher on this list. Rejuvenated himself in 09, putting up over 30 a game, finished third in MVP voting, but lost to Atlanta in the first round. Number 9, Steve Nash, who's responsible for changing how the game's being played, averaged 16.2 points, over 3 rebounds, 9 assists on nearly 50% shooting, almost 44 from 3, over 90 from the line. Incredible shooting numbers in a defensive-oriented era where a lot of big men even shot under 50% for much of the decade. Was an all-star in 02 and 03 with Dallas, and from 05 to 08 with Phoenix. Nash was very good with the Mavs, but wasn't even close to a top 10 player at the time, never talked about as a legit MVP candidate until taking his talents to Phoenix. Nash was unstoppable playing under Mike D'Antoni's system, combined with his phenomenal passing, incredible stroke, mastering the pick and roll game. Teams had no answer to stop him, despite not being close to one of the most talented players like Kobe or Tim Duncan. Due to the very slow pace and low scoring in the mid-2000s, the Suns became the most exciting team to watch with their fast tempo, gave us a preview of what the NBA would look like 10 years later. That's why Nash won back-to-back MVPs, finished second for MVP voting in 07, lost in the conference finals to the Spurs in 05 without Joe Johnson the first 2 games, lost to Dallas in 06 without Amari, arguably got robbed by the Spurs in 07 after Robert Horry's cheap shot, lost to San Antonio again in 08 in the first round, despite winning 55 games. Unfortunately, Nash is one of the most deserving players to never win a title and was simply the perfect point guard, making everyone around him better. Number 8, Jason Kidd. While Nash had the 2 MVPs, Kidd led his team to 2 straight finals in 02 and 03. Despite having poor shooting numbers, posted averages of 14 points, 7 rebounds, over 9 assists, 2 steals on only 40% shooting. His perimeter defense though was one of the best in the league. Although Nash was better offensively, Kidd made 8 defensive teams in the 2000s, including 3 first teams, made 4 first team All-NBA from 2000 to 04, was clearly the best point guard from 99 to 04, transformed a 26-win Nets team into contenders, leading them to the finals. The first season he got there, was an all-star from 2000 to 04 and 07 to 08. Kidd was such a terrific all-around player. He dominated games without scoring, is excellent at everything besides shooting. If he had a good jumper, he could have went down as the second best point guard all time. Number 7, LeBron James. Coming to the league in 03 as the most hyped prospect the game has ever seen, LeBron did not disappoint. Averaged 27.5 points, 7 rebounds, 6.7 assists, almost 2 steals, a block on 47% shooting his first 6 seasons, was already a top 5 player by his third season. After missing the playoffs in 04 and 05, James led his Cavs to 50 wins, 45 wins, and 66 wins. Single-handedly carried a mediocre Cavs team to the finals in 07, beating a short-handed Wizards team without Gilbert Arenas, knocked off New Jersey in 5, and had a historic Game 5 performance, scoring 48 points against Detroit in the conference finals. Had his 2 highest scoring seasons in 06 and 08, captured his first of 4 MVPs in 09, while also making his first of 6 defensive teams that season. Became the youngest All-Star Game MVP at 21 years old in 06. Since James started playing in 03-04, I couldn't rank him ahead of the other guys who played the whole decade. Number 6, Allen Iverson. The answer made the All-Star team every season of the 2000s. Captured 3 of his 4 scoring titles in 01, 02, and 05. Averaged 28.1 points, 3.6 rebounds, over 6 assists, 2.2 steals on 42.5% shooting in 682 games from 2000 to 09. Won 2 All-Star Game MVPs and MVP. Since he didn't have much help with the Sixers, AI had to take most of the shots, led Philly to the semis in 2000, falling short to the Pacers before having one of the most incredible runs in playoff history, dragging a mediocre Sixers team to the finals, while the second leading scorer was Theo Ratliff, knocked off Indy in the first round before 2 grueling 7-game series wins against the Raptors and Bucks, scored 50 plus twice in that playoff stretch, combined with 3 straight 40-point games, the last 2 against the Bucks and the first game against the Lakers, where he dropped 48, draining the iconic corner jumper, stepping over Tyronn Lue, ruined the Lakers' chances in becoming the first team to go undefeated in the playoffs. Unfortunately, AI didn't have much help afterwards. Philly never won over 50 games again over Iverson's tenure, spent time with the Nuggets, and had a painful end to his career as his game declined. Number 5, Dirk Nowitzki. The 7-footer averaged 23.6 points, almost 9 rebounds on 47.5% shooting, a block in 792 games from 2000 to 09, was an all-star from 2002 on throughout the decade, made 4 first teams, finished top 3 in MVP 3 times, won it in 07, was the clear-cut best player on Dallas by his 3rd season, led his team to 60 wins in 03, was at the height of his powers from 05 to 07, not counting the 2011 playoffs, leading Dallas to 58 wins, 60 wins, and 67 wins, but underachieved in the postseason those years, outplayed by Nash, D. Wade, and the We Believe Warriors team. Dirk had a painful stretch of playoff disappointments, lost to New Orleans in 08 in 5 games, got destroyed by Denver in the semis of 09, but his playoff numbers from 01 to 09 of 25.5 points, 11 rebounds, a steal, and a block were terrific numbers. Number 4, Kevin Garnett. The big ticket made the All-Star team every year of the 2000s, was one of the most complete players of his era. His presence and leadership made everybody better. Averaged 21.6 points, over 12 rebounds, almost 5 assists, 1.3 steals, 1.6 blocks in 769 games. Throughout the decade, Garnett made 8 defensive first teams, 4 first teams, 1 All-Star Game MVP, and finished top 3 in MVP voting 4 different times. KG can simply do everything on the floor, won 4 straight rebounding titles, was always consistent, giving his team at least 20 and 10 in his prime night in and night out, led Minnesota to 450 plus win seasons, but constantly lost in the first round because of his weak supporting cast. Ran into Kobe and Shaq's Lakers in the first round of 03. It wasn't until the Wolves got Sam Cassell and Latrell Sprewell that KG finally led his team out of the first round to the conference finals in 04, winning MVP after being stuck with Minnesota 3 years after. KG transformed Boston from a 24-win team to a 66-win team. It wasn't his stats that was impressive, but his presence. Won Defensive Player of the Year, leading the C's to a championship. Number 3, Shaquille O'Neal, who was by far the best player in the early part of the 2000s, but because he started slowing down after 05, I couldn't rank him above Kobe or Duncan. Throughout the decade, Shaq averaged over 23 a game, 10.5 rebounds, over 2 block shots in 662 games on 58.5% shooting, averaged 30 a game, 14.5 rebounds. His 3 title years with LA, had one of the most dominating final stretches of anybody in the history of the game, put up 38 against Indy, 33 against Philly, 36.3 against Jersey, destroyed, annihilated, and abused any big men who dared guarding him. Having one of the most insane primes out of anybody, O'Neal was still excellent from 03 to 05, put up 27.5 points, 11 rebounds in 03, but Kobe was arguably better at the time. Both had their issues, resulting Shaq to take his talents to South Beach, helped Miami become a 59-win team, was arguably robbed for MVP in 05, while 06 was the final year Shaq averaged over 20 a game, before injuries took a toll on him, was an All-Star each year besides 08, won 3 All-Star Game MVPs, made 7 first-team All-NBAs, 3 defensive second teams, 3 finals MVPs, and 4 championships. Shaq's best 10-year stretch was realistically from 94 to 03, where he averaged 28 and 12. Number 2, Tim Duncan, who averaged 21.4 points, 11.7 rebounds, over 3 assists, 2.3 blocks on 50.5% shooting. Just like KG, it wasn't Duncan's stats that were eye-popping, but his presence and leadership. Arguably the best player in the game from 03 to 05, his team won between 53 to 63 games throughout the decade, captured 2 MVPs in 02 and 03, appeared on 7 first teams, 7 defensive first teams in the 10-year span, won 3 titles in 03, 05, and 07, winning 2 finals MVPs, was Mr. Consistency, giving his team at least 20 and 10 on the regular basis, just like Garnett, put up a double-double every season until 2011, had one of the best post games and the smoothest bank shot the game has ever seen, dominated with poise, pure class, and professionalism. Number 1, Kobe Bryant, having averages of 28.2 points, 5.9 rebounds, 5.2 assists, 1.7 steals on almost 46% shooting in 748 games from 2000 to 09. Just like KG, Duncan, and Iverson, Kobe easily made the All-Star game every season of the decade, appeared on 7 first teams, 7 defensive first teams, 3 All-Star game MVPs, 1 MVP in 08, and was robbed of MVP in 06, 4 total championships, 1 finals MVP. Kobe haters love talking about Shaq's finals MVPs and loves discrediting Kobe, but it was Kobe who dominated and took over down the stretch in crunch time, just like the game winner in Game 2 against Phoenix in 2000, scoring the last 7 points in Game 4 against Indy when Shaq fouled out in the finals, combined with the fact that Kobe was assigned and guarding the other team's best perimeter player before the 01 finals. Kobe was the leading scorer the 2 series before for the Lakers, averaging 35 and 9, destroying Sacramento in the semis, put up 33, 7 and 7, demolishing San Antonio. Kobe also had the better series over Shaq in 02 against the Spurs. If that was the real NBA Finals, Kobe would have gotten Finals MVP and was already a top 3 player in the game by 2001, overcame tremendous adversity after Shaq left, having Smush Parker, Chris Mim, Brian Cook, and Kwame Brown as the starters, being in the Western Conference. Some of those guys didn't belong in the league, and Kobe impressively still led the team to 45 wins in the West. In 07, Luke Walton was the 3rd leading scorer on the roster. Kobe simply had no help, with many counting him out. The Mamba proved doubters wrong in 08, with the Lakers' title chances slim to none before the season. Before Gasol's arrival, the Lakers were already in good playoff positioning. Powell was traded in February, played 27 games, and Kobe led the team to 57 wins, got the Lakers back to the finals. The season after, Kobe won 65 games, winning finals MVP, overcoming adversity, winning a title without Shaq, was the best player in the league from 2006 to 2010. I have Kobe over Duncan, since Duncan always had pop and was never in a position to overcome adversity. Duncan was the better player from the early part of the 2000s, but Kobe was clearly better after 2005 on. After 08, one can argue Duncan was no longer a top 5 player in the game. Timmy D had more success in the regular season, but in the playoffs, Kobe had Duncan's number. In the series in 01, 02, and 03 and 04 with Shaq, Kobe was the best Lakers all those series, having an 18-8 record over Duncan in the 2000s, and that's not even counting the 99 playoffs where Duncan's Spurs swept the Lakers, giving Duncan 12 wins against Kobe in the postseason. In 01, the Spurs won 58 games, best record in the NBA. Kobe averaged 33.3 points, 7 rebounds, 7 assists, 1.5 steals on over 51% shooting for the series. Duncan 23 points, 12 rebounds, 4 assists, 4.5 block shots on 48% shooting. Kobe's Lakers destroyed San Antonio by a combined 89 points that series, while in 02, 03, and 04, Kobe led LA in scoring, putting up over 26, 32, and 26 against San Antonio. Duncan 29 and 17 in 02, 28 and 11 in 03, and 21 and 12 in 04. But in 08, the Spurs were the defending champs. Lakers won 57 games, Spurs 56. Kobe destroyed, demolished, and abused San Antonio the whole series, averaged over 29 a game on 53% shooting. Duncan 22.5 points, 17.5 rebounds on only 43% shooting. Down the stretch, it was Kobe who took over late in games, draining the clutch jumper in Game 1 to put LA up 2 with 24 seconds left, took over in Game 5, down 17 in the first half. Kobe proved why he was the best player in the game. Combined with the fact that Duncan had Ginobili and Parker to make plays in clutch moments, Kobe always took it upon himself come winning time. Is one of the most clutch players all time. Another reason why I rank Kobe ahead of Tim Duncan. Both are incredible leaders, have amazing desire to win. I also have Kobe, Timmy D, and Shaq in my top 10 all-time lists. Honorable mentions includes Paul Pierce, Tracy McGrady, Vince Carter, and Ray Allen. To put the 3 best players of the decade in perspective, Shaq was the best player from 2000 to 02, a top 5 player from 03 to 05, top 10 in 06, and out of the top 10 by 07 after getting old. While Duncan was a top 2 to 3 player from 2000 to 02, was arguably the best from 03 to 05, a top 3 player in 06 and 07, then out of the top 5 afterwards. Kobe was then the best player after 05 until he won his 5th championship. While the only year Kobe wasn't the top 3 player was 2000 at at age 21, where he was arguably 5 behind Shaq, Duncan, KG, and AI, was easily a top 3 player from 2001 on. Every other year of the 2000s decade, he was at least a top 3 player in the game from 01 until he tore his Achilles in 2013. Thank you so much for watching this video. Let me know who you guys think is the best player in the 2000s decade. I talk NBA comparisons, amazing storylines, NBA history, and anything basketball that will interest you. If you love the NBA, subscribe for more content, more great stuff coming soon. I love all of you. See you next time.